Well, folks, I'm 68 years old. I read at the 70-year-old level. And I've made my last will and testament. When I die, I'm to be cremated. And the ashes are to be thrown in Rick Perry's hair. I also appear to be losing my hearing, which many of you older folks can appreciate, which I don't mind at all, because you don't have to listen to all the bullshit of the world, all the politics. My definition of politics is poly, meaning more than one, and ticks are blood-sucking parasites. So you don't have to listen to that. And anyway, I only have two areas of interest anymore, and they are Libya and Charlie Sheen. The two things I care about. But every time I can't hear something, I'm reminded of the old man who wanted to rake leaves in his backyard, but he couldn't find the rake. So he hollers up to his wife, who's standing on the deck, and he says, "Where's the rake?" And his wife says, "What?" And the old man's getting increasingly frustrated. And he says, "I need the rake." So his wife goes, the old man says, "What?" And the wife says, "I left it behind the bush." Some of my A material, folks. It's a very cosmopolitan crowd. The more sophisticated the crowd, the better. Let's send this one out to the music and the memory of Levon Helm. Ain't you the golden boy of the silver screen? Your mama's pride and joy, the promoter's dream. No time for autographs, sailing boats or trains. No time for dreams to last. Gotta catch that plane. One magic midnight show, she taught you how it feels. Once so long ago, when rock and roll was real. Turn on your radio, the words you hear are mine. Should have told you long ago, but I never had the time. This is the Bipolar World Tour. It was an idea suggested to me by the hillbilly Dalai Lama, Willie Nelson. He also gave me a piece of advice I know some of you have heard, but it's good advice, and it's really stood me in good stead in politics and in life. What Willie said to me, this was just before I got into politics in 2005. He said, if you're going to have sex with an animal, always make it a horse. Because that way, if things don't work out, at least you know you've got a ride home. So I was in L.A. in 1976, and this was taking a break from Bob Dylan's Rolling Thunder Revue. We had a few months off. I was at the bar of the Troubadour in L.A. Any of you ever been in the Troubadour, the nightclub? Yeah? Yeah. This is a really, really cosmopolitan group. I was drinking Diet Hemlock that night, I believe. And a guy comes in wearing a straw riverboat gambler Texas cowboy hat. And I knew it's one of these singer-songwriter types, you know, maybe Ray Wiley Hubbard or the late great Rusty Weir. I knew it couldn't be Jerry Jeff Walker, because he's the second biggest asshole from Texas. I know this because I'm the first. So he comes over to me and he says, "Kinkster, let's have another round." So he buys me a drink and sits down next to me. So we're there for about an hour, and I'm kind of fishing for who this guy is. And he's very friendly, and he seems to know me well, but he's not revealing. So after a couple hours, we get up, we go into the little politician's room, and we snort a long line of Peruvian marching powder. And by the way, to drink Mexican mouthwash cowboy style, I'd like to recommend that, the way we do it in Texas. You snort a line of salt, and then you take the lime and you squeeze it in your own eye. Then you kill the shot. Anyway, we did the Peruvian marching powder, we came back, and now we're here for 3-4 hours together. I still don't have a clue as to who he is. So I reached the point of the crossroads. Either I'm going to have to ask him and maybe hurt his feelers, or I guess we both leave and never know who the hell he was. So I decide, let's go for the truth. Let's, you know. Just trying to think, what are those three things? To ride, shoot straight, and tell the truth. Let's find out. So at that point in the evening, I finally turned to the guy and I says, "Look, pal, I really hate to do this, but what is your name?" And he says, "Eric Clapton." So I met Eric Clapton. And 2 weeks later, he played slide dobro on this song, which happens to be the first song I ever wrote. I was 11 years old. And it has not been a financial pleasure, because it's rarely played on the radio, but a lot of people around the world do know the song. It's a children's song. Did anybody bring their kids here? Adult children qualify. One thing about the Kinkster, I never like to say fuck in front of a CHILD if I can avoid it. So if you know this little booger, help me out. Old Ben Lucas had a lot of mucus coming right out of his nose. He picked